Hi, this is Steph again, and this is our third little video in this little series on animal communication. And right now, what I want to talk about is how does it actually work and what's in it for you. So the first video was just a little introduction. I'm originally a veterinarian, and I've come to animal communication through experiencing the help a communicator has given me in behavior cases in animals, and then learning to do it myself and finding out that indeed everybody can learn it because I was very skeptic in the beginning. And then the second little video is just, in the words of one of the very well-known communicators, what is it actually that happens during animal communication? All right, so how does it work? This little picture is my husband Alex and our Stormheart when he was still young. And this is the space of communication. You can just see how, those two really love each other, and they're trusting with each other, and they're soaking up each other's presence, right? And that is a space where you can actually communicate with each other when you're respectful and loving with each other. So it's always a good idea to find a quiet space, and when you're sitting down, maybe even close your eyes and don't even look at the animal. So if you have an animal and you believe, first of all, that the animal can't hear and you can't hear what they say, just drop that thought. Because I think most of veterinarians I've met and most animal owners, most humans living with animals, can hear what the animals are saying. But of course, our doubting, scientifically trained mind will interfere and go like, no, I didn't hear that. That's not possible that that's what they were saying. And so acknowledge your animal as being of equal importance to you. Listen to them as if they had the same quality of intelligence as you. And then sit quietly with them, maybe even close your eyes. Don't stare into their eyes. And then silently just ask them a question. Just ask them one question and then listen for your answer. And here, to be able to listen, it helps to have a meditation practice of some description, because you're more familiar with the thoughts that generally come through your head and distract you from actually listening quietly. And that's all there is to it. And then obviously it's practice, so that you start to get the feedback, oh my, I actually did hear that. And that's why I'm putting on this little course, because the practice, to practice with animals that are not yours, that belong to somebody else, really starts to give you the positive feedback that yes, you are hearing something that you didn't know before. Because with our own animals, we always doubt a lot. Like, so if I have a big problem with one of my animals that I can't solve, I will call, bring in a communicator from the outside, just as I would bring in a therapist or somebody to help with problems I have with my child or with my husband. If you engage a communicator, they will generally talk with you first about your reasons for the communication, and just make sure there aren't any expectations that a communication can't solve. And then they will ask you for a picture, or they might meet your animal friend in person or on a Zoom call, and then do that communication. And they act as an intermediary between you and your animal friend. And so sometimes to solve problems, you need more than one call. Like when you have a problem that you're trying to solve, then both sides get heard, and then an action plan gets agreed on, and then it's a good idea to check in again after a week or a few weeks or maybe even a few months to say, hi, how did this go? And do we need to make any adjustments, or do we need to talk about it some more? How does it help you to have those communications done? Well, just imagine you have a little puppy and it keeps chewing your shoes. And you keep coming home and, like, you know, your new expensive running shoes are chewed. Can you imagine yourself like that? So how do you feel? Frustrated, powerless. How do I get through to this dog? And angry at the dog, right? You might even smack it simply because you don't know what to do anymore. And the dog, confused, scared, sad that it did something wrong that it didn't understand. So communication helps us to understand each other better. And so in that way, problems are easier to solve because now there is mutual respect. I get why you're doing this. Oh, I get why you got angry. And then there is understanding, right? And the bond that develops through that becomes deeper. And so in that we feel supportive. We feel loved instead of antagonized. It makes a huge difference. And taking the time to listen to your animals requires you to slow down. It requires you to be still and take the time to be with them and to really open your mind. And that's such a precious thing in this world where we're just busy, 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 busy all the time, especially our mind is so busy all the time. And then when we appreciate our animals as equal spiritual beings like that, we internally in our hearts, we open a door to a greater appreciation of the natural world, right? Because by appreciating one animal, we start to appreciate all the other animals as well, and then the plants and the earth as a being. And so you begin to feel like a connection to the world at large. And you know, when we're feeling connected like that, we feel safer. So out of that comes compassion, appreciation, and love. And as a result, you feel better about yourself. You feel better about the world that you live in, right? And I love this picture of how she's talking to the cows. And you kind of wonder what the cows are saying. Great, and here's Mia again, our little, no longer little papa. She's now over 2. And she's one of those animals that, you know, consistently helps me learn. And every communication I do with somebody else's animal helps me understand Mia better as well. So once again, you have any questions about the course that are not answered on the website, just send me an email or send me a text. The contact details are there. And I'm really looking forward, if you decide to take the course, I'm so looking forward to sharing that with you and be part of, you know, developing this deeper bond with your animal companions.